Why the F-15 terrified the Soviets. Air-to-air and air-to-ground operations are both within the capabilities of the F-15E Strike Eagle, which is a dual-role fighter aircraft. Because of its extensive collection of avionics and electronic systems, it can engage in combat at low altitudes, during the day or night, and in any weather. Particulars: an officer of the weapon systems and a pilot are the two members of the crew that operate the aircraft. The E model of the F-15 is a dual-role fighter, in contrast to the earlier models of the F-15, which were allocated air-to-air tasks. Despite its enormous range, it is able to fight its way to a target, destroy opponent ground positions, and then fight its way out of the area. The navigation system of the aircraft makes use of a laser gyro and a global positioning system in order to continuously monitor the position of the aircraft and transmit information to the central computer as well as other systems. These systems include a digital moving map that is located in both cockpits, respectively. Aircrews can detect ground targets from a considerable distance thanks to the APG-70 radar system. When the crew has completed a sweep of a target region, they will freeze the air-to-ground map and then switch over to the air-to-air mode to clear the area of any potential air threats. This is one of the features of this system. While the WSO is responsible for designating the ground target, the pilot can detect, target, and engage air-to-air targets during the delivery of the weapon from the air to the surface. The low-altitude navigation and targeting infrared for night, or LANTIRN, system enables the aircraft to fly at low altitudes during the night and regardless of the weather conditions, to attack ground targets with a wide range of precision, guided and unguided munitions. For the F-15E, the LANTIRN system, which consists of two pods that are connected to the exterior of the aircraft, provides unrivaled accuracy in the delivery of munitions, regardless of whether it is day or night or in adverse weather conditions. The terrain-following radar that is contained within the navigation pod enables the pilot to fly at a very low altitude while maintaining a safe flight by following the cues that are displayed on a heads-up display. Additionally, this technology can be attached to the autopilot of the aircraft in order to enable hands-off capability for following terrain through the aircraft. A laser designator and a tracking system are both contained within the targeting pod, which allows for the marking of an adversary for destruction at long ranges. After the tracking process has been initiated, the targeting information is immediately sent to either GPS or laser-guided bombs. The rear cockpit, which houses the weapons systems officer, is currently considered to be one of the most significant features of the F-15E. The information from the radar, electronic warfare, or infrared sensors can be displayed on 4 screens. The officer can monitor the state of the aircraft or weapons and probable threats, pick targets, and utilize an electronic moving map to navigate. Both the selection of new displays and the refinement of targeted information are the functions of 2 hand controls. Displays can be changed from one screen to another by selecting the appropriate display option from a menu of available modes. Additionally, the pilot is equipped with a heads-up display made of transparent glass that is placed at eye level and displays essential flying and tactical information. This is in addition to the 3 screens that are located in the front seat. The pilot doesn't need to glance down into the cockpit, for instance, to monitor the status of the armament. During the night, the screen is even more significant since it displays a video picture that is almost equal to a view of the globe during the daytime. This view is provided by the forward-looking infrared sensor using the technology. There are 2 Pratt Whitney F100 PW220 or 229 engines that are used to power the F-15E. These engines contain sophisticated digital technology, which allows for enhanced performance. For instance, pilots of the F-15E may accelerate from idle power to maximum afterburner in less than 4 seconds thanks to a digital electronic engine management system. This represents a 40% improvement over the engine control system that was previously in use. The acceleration of the engine is increased, which results in faster takeoffs and more precise responses while maneuvering. The F-100 PW220 engines can generate 50,000 pounds of thrust, 25,000 with each engine, while the F-100 PW229 engines have a thrust capacity of 58,000 pounds, 29,000 with each engine. Both of the low-drag conformal fuel tanks that are attached to the fuselage of the F-15E have the capacity to store 750 gallons of fuel each. Instead of using traditional weapon racks, the tanks are equipped with short pylons that house weaponry. This helps to reduce the amount of drag that the Strike Eagle experiences and further extends its range. Most of the armaments that are in the Air Force inventory can be carried by the F-15E when it is used for air-to-ground missions. AIM-9M Sidewinders, AIM-120 Advanced Medium-Range Air-to-Air Missiles, or AMRAAM for the air-to-air role are all possible loads of weaponry that can be installed on this aircraft. A 20mm gun that is placed internally and can carry up to 500 rounds is also included in the E-type. Brief history. A high engine thrust-to-weight ratio and low wing loading are the two factors that contribute to the F-15's exceptional maneuverability and acceleration. Because the thrust of the engines was greater than the weight of the plane when it was loaded, it was the first operational aircraft in the United States that was able to accelerate even while it was climbing vertically. The low wing loading, which refers to the ratio of the weight of the aircraft to the area of its wings, is an essential component in the maneuverability of the aircraft. When combined with the high thrust-to-weight ratio, it helps the aircraft to turn efficiently without sacrificing its airspeed. In July of 1972, the F-15 gave its maiden voyage for the very first time. In November of 1974, the first Eagle was delivered to the 58th Tactical Fighter Training Wing at Luke Air Force Base in Arizona. This marked the beginning of training in both F-15A and F-15B aircraft. The first F-15 that was intended to be used by a combat squadron was delivered to the 1st Tactical Fighter Wing at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia in January 1976. 1979 was the year that the single-seat F-15C and two-seat F-15D versions were introduced into the Air Force inventory. The initial delivery of these aircraft was made to Kadena Air Base in Japan. These particular versions were outfitted with production Eagle package enhancements, which included capabilities for hauling exterior conformal fuel tanks, an increase in maximum takeoff weight to 68,000 pounds, and an additional 2,000 pounds of internal fuel capacity. It was in April of 1988 when the first production variant of the F-15E was handed over to the 405th Tactical Training Wing at Luke Air Force Base in Arizona. To sum everything up, the F-15 was a crucial component in the weapons race during the Cold War, earning the respect and dread of the Soviet Union. It was also a game-changer in the field of military aviation by changing the game. Its excellent design, unrivaled speed, maneuverability, and potent weapons made it a deadly air-to-air combatant. Additionally, the F-15E's dual-role skills enabled it to carry out precision ground strikes with incredible accuracy regardless of the state of the weather or the lighting conditions. The sophisticated radar and avionics capabilities of the aircraft, in conjunction with its capacity to engage numerous targets simultaneously, caused the Soviets to be on high alert. They were aware that they were up against an adversary that had the potential to strike decisively and retreat with few casualties. The Soviet Union had a difficult time closing the technological gap that was generated by its sheer superiority in both air-to-air and air-to-ground operations, which contributed to the legendary status that it holds in the annals of aviation development. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and drop a comment below to let us know what you think.